Welcome to the eSIM Studios YouTube channel where we cover everything technology. Make sure you subscribe for all the latest tech news and reviews and hit the like button if you're enjoying the content. Let's go. Welcome back to eSIM Studios. My name is Taylor Bell. Now, we got two new devices that were launched and or announced depending on how you want to look at it. But first off, we have the Nothing Phone 3A Lite. First up, Nothing. Call me crazy, but I personally believe this is the end of life for Nothing as we know it. Now, whether they put out 1, 2 more devices, maybe 3 or 4 more devices, but I think this is the beginning of the end for Nothing, and let me explain. So, Nothing today announced the new Nothing Phone 3A Lite. This is a budget device in the budget segment, brand new in the US when converted to United States dollars equals $249. Now, if you're wondering why Nothing would put out a budget device when they already have the CMF Phone 2 Pro, well, that's because a little piece of information kind of skipped past the radar. I think in fact, I know I had mentioned it, but it was just for a brief second. So CMF actually got under from the Nothing umbrella. CMF is actually their own separate entity, independent entity. CMF is its own company at this point. Nothing started the CMF brand, and probably about 4 months ago, they actually separated, and now they are their own independent company. Now, they have a stronghold, very popular in India, and Nothing had to fill that void. Nothing had to fill that void in that budget segment. So with this new Nothing Phone 3A Lite, it's basically a rebranded and reskinned CMF Phone 2 Pro. I'm close. In fact, I think they're exactly the same. And it's simply got a glass back, and they put that classic Nothing white color to it. But before we get into my explanation of it's the beginning of the end for Nothing, let me explain what the 3A Lite consists of. So you're going to get the same specs as I mentioned as the CMF Phone 2 Pro. You're going to get the same CPU, the MediaTek Dimensity 7300 Pro, same CPU in the CMF Phone 2 Pro. You're going to get a 6.77-inch AMOLED display. It's a full HD plus 120 hertz refresh rate. You're going to get a base 8 gigs of RAM, 128 gigs of storage. There is an optional 256 gigs of storage that you can purchase. However, it's not available for United States consumers. This is basically available for most regions in the world, minus the United States. If you live in Europe, I know we have a number of viewers in Europe. You can purchase it. If you're in India, you can certainly purchase it. This is not in the beta program. Now, if you are in the United States and you desperately want to get your hands on one, well, you can, right? I mean, you can find them on eBay and I'm sure a couple of other web-based marketplaces. However, it's not going to be $249. That's what the equivalent was or is to the United States dollar. However, if you get one on eBay, you're going to probably have to pay an extra $100 on top of that. Look, you can get one if you want one. You're just going to have to pay a little extra. So as we mentioned, some of the base specs. Now, this thing is about as ugly as the Phone 3, unfortunately. It's got that same ugly, no symmetrical lining as far as the camera sensors go in the back. It seems like the cameras were just slapped up there with a blind person. Let's put a camera here, let's put a camera there, and let's put a camera right there. Oh, can't forget about the glyph lights, no? Because remember, Nothing teased the glyph lights. Oh, glyph lights are coming back. They're coming back. Yay! Yes, glyph lights are coming back. Womp, womp, womp. They put one little tiny dot of a glyph light, and that's it. So unfortunately, the one thing that all Nothing fans loved, they're basically doing away with. Now, they're going to say, no, 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 we didn't do away with it. We have a glyph light there on the back. Really? It's a freaking dot. It's a freaking dot. There's no more glyph lights that surround the camera. There's no more glyph lights on the back of the phone, like on the phone 1, phone 2, or 2A or 3A. Nothing. Just a little dot. So technically, they were correct. Although if you basically blink, you'll miss it. Now, they're doing away. Look, there's not much to talk about the phone 3A Lite. It's basically the phone CMF phone 2 Pro, right? Specs are the same. Real quick to finish this off, they do have an SD card slot, right, for up to 2 terabytes of storage that you can add onto it. And that's it. Now, let's move into why I think they're dying. They're a dying brand. So Nothing, and it hurts me to say that. Y'all know I'm a huge Nothing fan. I have Nothing merch. I've bought most of their phones up until now, up until the tides turn. So it seems like they're doing away with the glyphs. Now, if you watched my video from the other day, you would know that Nothing is adding lock screen advertisements on this device in devices moving forward. Lock screen advertisements. That's like Motorola type stuff. That's like BLU phone type stuff. It doesn't make any sense to me. Well, technically, I get it. But what they're doing is they're looking for money. They're looking for funds, right? And not only are they adding more lock screen advertisements, they're also pre-installing bloatware. So a new report came out today that Nothing signed a deal with Meta, that Nothing is going to pre-install Meta apps on the Nothing phones, on these Nothing devices. So they are not going to be uninstallable. They're going to be locked on the device. So that means the new Nothing Phone 3A Lite is going to come with lock screen ads and pre-installed Meta applications. We're talking about Meta. We're talking about Facebook. We're talking about Instagram, WhatsApp. WhatsApp I don't mind so much, but Facebook, most people use Instagram, but I want options. I don't want to install that on my phone if I don't want to. And it just seems like with every step moving forward, they're doing the things that I would not do if I owned a cell phone manufacturer, cell phone company, right? It seems like with every step moving forward, it's the wrong step, quite frankly. And I think you have to be very, very careful when you are an industry disruptor. As far as the steps that you take, each and every step has to be calculated to the nth degree and thought about and researched. And it seems like they're doing everything I would not do. Now, I thought possibly the Phone 3 was a one-off with the design. All right, it's the most hideous thing you've ever laid eyes on. I thought, well, maybe with all of the negative feedback they were getting online, that they would, bring it back and make it not so ugly, whatever their next device would be. And then you see the 3A Lite, and it looks like the Phone 3's little brother, right? It's just as ugly, quite honestly. And they're not going in the right direction. They're not making their phones visually appealing. And I think they're taking this odd-looking design and running with it. And I don't think that's going to benefit them in the future, quite honestly, right? And then you go to the lock screen ads, and then you go to the uninstallable, pre-installed bloatware on their phones. It's just, I'm done. For the moment, I'm done. Now, that doesn't mean if they get their shit together, if they get their act together, and they start to put out visually appealing phones, and they do away with the lock screen ads, and they do away with the pre-installed bloatware, I might come back to them. But until that time comes, I'm done. It is what it is. Let's move on.